Howdy, everybody. Welcome to All Things Conversational. I'm Steve.
And I'm Greg.
I'm just kidding. I'm Greg.
Steve. They did that funny story about that at the award ceremony last week because we're two different divisions.
Yeah.
I made everybody stand up and say what office they're from, and Kathleen Taylor stands up and goes, "Hi, I'm Sarah Digweed." And Sarah
That's
did the
awesome.
same thing. It was kind of funny. So
That was more to throw you off.
yeah, well, you did. So
It didn't work.
I don't know. Sorry.
We're diving into a session hopefully today after an hour of sitting here and chatting about stuff.
After Greg was late a half an hour.
Yeah, I was. I got caught up with a few things this morning. It is a Friday.
It is Friday.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go home and have steak and baked potatoes tonight.
Yeah, what you should be doing is going to Fat Rabbit.
I would go to Fat Rabbit, but I don't think a Friday night at Fat Rabbit is going to do it justice for me. The other thing with St. Catharines is I got to be in St. Catharines.
Yeah, now that
right, like it's a half-hour drive. It's Friday night. I want to go home and have a couple beers and
or go to the trailer and
chill. No, we don't do the trailer on the weekends anymore.
Gotcha.
I go to the trailer now to, Sue's there during the week a lot. I go there a couple nights during the week when it's quiet and I can get some relaxation.
Yeah.
It's not relaxing there during the week.
During the weekend?
Or during the weekend, rather.
Yeah,
it's too stressful. There's securities everywhere.
Busy. And
yeah, no thanks.
all that fun stuff.
Yeah,
Anyways, what we wanted to dive into today was a bit more of a businessy topic.
Yeah.
I wanted to.
Yeah, Greg came armed with subject matter today.
Yeah, I was sitting there thinking about what we could do. We've done a little bit of a hodgepodge of. We did a lot of real estate recently.
Yeah.
We did a lot of real estate. We did a bit of a catch up.
We got a couple of first-time buyer sessions. Yeah. We got to pick that up again down the road. But today I like this. I like some some general business ideas.
This is exactly it. Yeah. And it's kind of topical for what we've been kind of going through.
Yeah.
And what I mean is, like, right now, Steve and I are trying to build some stuff on social media with the podcast, right? We're not, going anything crazy.
No.
But we're trying things. We're testing them out.
I noticed some of the stuff has made it to your TikTok account as well.
Yeah. So this is a good topic.
Yeah.
So I ended up, somebody else was saying another realtor I know he started posting to TikTok.
Yeah.
And he was getting really good results.
Yeah.
Like weirdly good. Where he was like, it was like less than 20 followers or whatever I don't really use TikTok very well yet.
It hits your For You page for other people.
But he was saying that it was, for some reason, it seemed like it was really doing a good job of pointing his content to the audience.
Yeah. It's really, really good at that.
Very good. And so he was like, and I was talking to him about something else. The TikTok thing came up and I was like, shucks, I never actually got around to it. But you know what? I got a backlog of social stuff.
Yeah.
I can just start cross-posting it. So I started cross-posting a bunch of it. I don't know. It's too early to really say.
It's funny because in my, my book of things that I got to get done at the beginning of every list right now, and I just haven't had the time to come in here and do it, is I want to do a kind of like a TikTok introduction. Hey, here's who I am. Here's what you're going to see. Here's what we're going to use this TikTok account for. Instead of just throwing it out there without some sort of direction.
We're going to record it today.
I don't know. We'll see.
Right after this recording, we'll both post to TikTok.
Sure. I've never done it.
Easy. So we'll hook up I'll get you to use your lapel mic too.
Just cool.
Play around with it.
Yeah. I've never done TikTok. I've never even tried. So I literally use it to watch and
I've never posted directly to it.
Yeah, my kids know how to do that. Jordan is the one that's going to come in and take care of that part of it for me.
But we'll play around with that today.
Sure.
But anyway, Steve and I are tweaking things. We're testing things on YouTube Shorts, and we're kind of trying to see what's working, what's working better than others, what's not working. Yeah. But it was really transferable, I think, to just general business. And the topic I kind of wanted us to dive into was, do people need more leads, or do people need to be converting their leads better?
And I think...
And as soon as I threw this topic on the table, this is one of those threads that you can pull on, and all of a sudden...
Yeah.
Or this is like the clown that pulls the stuff out of his mouth, and you're like, how long is this going to go for?
Yeah.
Because this has a lot of different avenues, right? And one of them being that I don't think everybody agrees on what a conversion is. I think it differs for everybody in their own business.
Yep.
So for you, what do you consider the conversion point, or do you could like, or do you have multiple conversion points in your business?
Yeah, we have 2 really.
I think we have 2 as well.
For me, the first one is not about, getting the person and having the conversation. The first point of conversion is either a listing agreement or buyer's representation agreement. So the second I can get them to commit to that first piece of paper with us is the first conversion. Because up until that point, they're just a lead,
Mhm.
right? They're not a client. So I think for me, conversion is from one step to another. So what you become a client of the brokerage. That's the first hurdle.
I think that's a big one for you guys.
Yeah, and then the second hurdle is pulling the trigger.
Buying, selling, some accepting,
Accepting
yeah,
an offer, or buying, or
or getting an
presenting,
offer accepted.
getting an offer accepted, because then that cycle is done, right?
So, which pivot point, conversion point
Sure.
do you think is more difficult?
Oh, the first one.
The first one?
Yeah, because the first one is getting them committed.
'Kay.
So, like, people say, "Oh, yeah, but you got to commit to buying the house." No, no, you got to commit to the person that you're working with,
Mhm.
because we're not talking about the actual process of selling the house. We're talking about the relationship of a client.
Yeah, so the big conversion for you is on the front end.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think for you guys, and I think that's the when you've converted to stage 2 for you guys, which is they have agreed to work with me,
Yeah.
that's like you're over the big hump.
Yes. You've taken the competition out of the
Yep.
marketplace. You've now got these people that are committed to you, what you say you're going to do, what the process is,
Mhm.
and now you got to execute,
Do you
right?
have you ever tracked your conversion on that stage?
No. And the reason is I don't,
I know it's different for you because 'cause you're kind
yeah,
of
for
in
me,
the
for
trenches a
me,
little
it's
bit
different.
less.
Yeah, like if you'd asked me that question 7 years ago,
You may have
I
had a
could have
number.
told you that my conversion was probably, somewhere in the 18 to 20% range for the people that I
Yep.
that I
Yeah,
met with,
yeah, that
right?
sounds about
Like that was, but now, because a lot of the business that I do is personal referral stuff now. So it's not necessarily,
a lot
I
of the
will say it's,
friction's removed.
yeah, there's no, I don't work with a lot of people I don't know,
Mhm.
or somebody that I know doesn't knows them, right? So there's always that trust, that almost inherent trust
So you're thinking I'd be curious to see with you now, though.
with me now.
Yeah.
What my conversion
Yeah,
is?
like, just out of curiosity, because I would bet it's probably a heck of a lot higher,
Oh, it's
meaning
way
meaning
higher.
when somebody's reaching out to you, they're they're ready to work with
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Most
Like, I would argue you're probably 80, 90.
You're probably right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
But that's also because I don't do a ton of sales anymore, so naturally my numbers will go higher, because I do a deal, maybe 2 a month in some,
yeah, yeah,
in a
yeah.
busy month.
So, what do you think is a good conversion for the average realtor right now at that stage? Because I think you're right. I think the big one is, lead to signing that agreement with you guys,
Yeah.
and then the next stage, when they get the accepted offer or they get an accepted offer for themselves, I would argue that conversion's gotta be close to 100 in many
So
cases.
on the
I guess
on
now
the
it's different if you're selling.
yeah, so here's the thing. It's a lot easier to get people to commit to selling right now.
Uh-huh.
Harder to get them to buy into the process because of pricing, time, et cetera, et cetera. You'll get phone calls from clients to say, "Hey, I'm thinking about selling my house." Okay, great. You show up, you give them the presentation, do all the paperwork that you got to do, and then all of a sudden you tell them the price, and they're like, "Okay, but
Mhm.
I'm not going a nickel below." Okay, all right. So that's a lot harder right now, in getting people to understand that. We've got a client right now that's going to lose $200,000 on their house. They know they're going to lose $200,000 on the house, and they're like, "We want to move.
Mhm.
We don't want to stay here. We want this new place." Their situation was slightly different. They came in, you know, um,
So when
to
you when
the
you
both,
say lose,
like,
um,
pure money,
okay,
like
because
not equity,
I was gonna
real
say, is it
money.
like those unrealized gains from when they thought it was worth late 21 when it was inflated, and they're
No,
like, "It was worth up to this much." It's like, that's
paid
unrealized.
840, listed at 639.9 right now. Right, so they're going to lose
That's
hardcore,
okay.
right?
That's a different story.
Right. But I would say back to the original portion of this is that once you get a buyer committed right now, getting them to say, okay, I'm going to go out and buy is the easier part than getting them to pull the trigger on the back end. On the listing side, it's
Hmm.
easier to get them to say, yeah, I'm going to list, and harder on the back end because
Yeah,
they're going to, in a lot of
yeah.
cases, not be as
They
financially
have to they have to accept
reality,
reality. That's a good way to say it.
right?
Um,
So I
so it's
think the front end is easier right now. If you'd asked 5 years ago, it would have been vice versa.
so what do you think is a good conversion ratio for a realtor right now, on average between both? I
If you can
selling.
hit 25% right
Okay.
now, like when you look at it, we got just over 2,000 houses on the market right now in Niagara. We're selling about 500 a month, right? Give or take.
Mhm.
So we've got about a 25% conversion rate on what's on the market. I mean,
Yeah.
that doesn't include. I mean, that's a very general number because it
Mhm.
doesn't include what comes on, goes off, cancels, expires, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
But
a lot of nuance to it.
a lot of nuance to it. But if you could hit 25% conversion rate, and then the thing is when you look at it and you say, okay, people say, okay, I gotta get leads. Okay. And I love it when people come in and say, oh, do you provide leads? No, I don't provide leads. Why? Because the leads that I provide
Mhm.
are, from me. They're not necessarily from, uh, agent, a company out there that does lead generation for agents. There's a
Well, the other
million
side
of
of it
them. I get
is
them phone calls every single day.
those lead generation companies are they're not hiding in many cases that their conversion is relatively low.
Terrible. 3%.
Yeah, I've heard somebody mention as high as they right now they're getting like 4 or 5 on their conversion, but that's still
Horrific.
very low, meaning out of 100 people that you
You're
talk to
You're getting in front of
or
4.
that you've paid
Yeah.
for, right? So it depends on what you're paying per one of those leads.
Yep.
Um,
Like Google says they've got a $16 lead rate.
what do you mean? Like a
It
return on
costs you
investment?
$16 ROI for a realtor through Google. I can argue that that's $16 to have a conversation.
I think you're right. I think that's 16 bucks per lead. So you're spending $1,600 to talk to 100 people.
Yeah.
Can you convert 3 of them?
Well, that's the question, and the bigger challenge that
Which
it
in
is.
some cases maybe.
Oh, listen, I don't. There's people out there that can close strangers like crazy.
Yeah.
There's people that just aren't interested in it. They don't want to do it. I don't like working with strangers. I don't know enough about them. There's too much AML, anti-money laundering
Mhm.
stuff to go with working with strangers. I just don't I don't want to do that,
Yeah.
right? And here's the thing. When I track it, because I do track these numbers very, very diligently within the brokerage. When they submit the file, they have to tell us where the business came from.
Okay.
Okay. So they tell us what their business came from.
Whether it's family, repeat referral.
So the four big ones: sphere of influence,
Uh-huh.
which is people you already know;
Yeah.
personal, professional referrals. Um, um, Now I'm going to drop blank on all of them.
Probably like a paid ad or something.
No, we don't have any. It's all people you know.
Okay.
It's all people that you know.
Okay.
So basically, 93% of our business. Oh, repeat business,
Okay.
is one of them. I can't remember what the fourth one is off the
Mhm.
top of my head,
We've
but
talked about this before
yeah,
in the past. I
but
remember you. Yeah.
93%. So when you're looking at those numbers, why those should be a heck of a lot easier to convert than spending that $1,600 to get to that four people. If you take that $1,600 and invest it into the people that you already worked with, you already know, et cetera, your conversion rate should go through the roof, right?
Yeah.
Because those people know, trust, and like you.
Well, there's
You would
just so
hope
much
anyway.
legwork already done.
Yeah, you've already established the relationship. With every new lead that we talk about leads all the time. With every new lead, you've got to put a ton of work into developing that, relationship, that rapport, that trust before you can even talk about getting them right? That's where social media is very, very good, because that social media, you can build that trust if you're really, really good at it. Kathleen Taylor and my company, Talina, they're both Stacey Pollard, Sarah Digweed. They post stuff that builds relationships.
Yeah, I think, like we've always talked about in the past, it's just the leverage also on it,
Yeah.
right? You get X amount of people seeing it, even if it's 50,
Yeah.
that's 50 people who saw something that you did today that took very little
Yeah.
effort.
But even look at what we've posted in the last little while.
Yeah.
We had 2,500 views on our shorts in 48 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So that kind of,
Again, it
posting
sounds,
this, it sounds like a lot,
yeah.
right? And it didn't cost us anything other than some
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
So, like I think that, leads and conversion are there, depends on where you're thinking your leads are coming from.
Yeah. And the reason I was kind of so interested in this topic was because the way it was, the way ChatGPT framed it was, most people believe they have a lead problem,
Yeah.
and it's probably a conversion problem.
Yeah. I think and I think I said to you before, Tom Ferry talks about this all the time, right?
So what was his take on it?
His take on it is you have a conversion problem.
I
And I agree with him, because I think that once you start the conversation, if you understand your worth, your value, which I think is the missing part in a lot of conversion, people will go out and say, "Oh, I do this, 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 and this." Great.
Okay.
Every realtor does this, and this, right? Every mortgage agent, same thing. You all shop it.
So yeah. So you're thinking that it truly is a conversion problem, because I would argue that early on for somebody it is a leads problem. So I think we've talked about this, that ideally you kind of end up, whether you um, do it intentionally or not, with kind of a niche for your
Yep.
business.
Yep. Niching's huge.
It's huge, right?
Yep.
And it for many reasons. One, it helps you keep things streamlined. It helps you keep things effective, efficient, and the same. But so I would argue that somebody who's coming out early, they might not know what their niche is yet or what they're good at. And so,
Insert broker of record and trainers.
right, but you might expect, hey, listen, I think I'm going to be going after luxury properties as a
Sure.
realtor, right?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, you just happen to resonate with downsizers
Sure.
for whatever reason. It's your patience, it's your this, it's
Yeah.
your that.
Yeah.
Or you just know how to talk to them, right?
Yep.
And so you may from the get go think you're going after luxury, but it just didn't end up being your bread and butter.
Yep.
So what I'm getting is, I think early on, you've got to take the swings. You got to take like a crack at the leads to figure out what you're going to actually
Yeah, but
convert better on.
I 100% agree with you. But ultimately, if you can't convert, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter how many leads you have.
Yeah, but if you're converting 3%
But
from online leads.
okay, I agree with you if you're converting 3%. But if you don't know how to convert, it doesn't matter how many online leads you get. Right? You could have 1,000 online leads, which means in theory you should be converting 30 to 40% or 30 to 40 of those 1,000 people.
Okay.
But if you don't know your value proposition and what you bring to the table that sets you apart from the others, or you haven't established a sort of relationship with those people over time, you're just a stranger in a pool.
Okay. Well,
Right?
let's take a break here, and when we come back, we'll talk about how you can start building yourself up and your value add and your value proposition so that you can increase your conversion.
Sounds good.
Wake up to the world you've been missing. Time to jump out of bed in the morning. No day, no life, now we're living. Can you feel it in the air that you're breathing?
Welcome back to All Things Conversational. Before we start, Greg's going to unmute his mic because he muted himself.
Hello.
Oh, there There he is. Hello, welcome back, Greg.
Such a professional, you keeping track of
we're not,
everybody.
we're not going down that path. We did a session a little while ago with Nick,
Yes.
and the whole thing was muted. So,
Um,
all right, so let's get back to this because I think this is a great subject, and I'm excited to hear what we're going to talk about in the next portion of it because you had it written down somewhere that you wanted to do what the next portion of this conversation was.
well, we mentioned it right before the break, which was we're going to talk about how we're going to dive into increasing your conversion.
Yes,
So we want to actually give somebody some tactics,
some tangibles.
yeah, some tangible things that they can pull from this to increase their conversion. For me, what I've learned is they're questions for us to ask on the discovery call.
Yeah, I think I definitely think the discovery call or the buyer interview or
Mhm.
the seller
Whatever
interview,
you
whatever
call it,
you want to
the
call it,
initial time that you
that
meet
initial
somebody.
time is important. But I also believe that it starts before that.
Okay.
So, conversion, one of the most important parts of conversion with any client is doing what you say you're going to do. And I can tell you that a lot of people drop the ball before they even make the initial phone call
Mhm.
because they say they're going to call it this time and then they call it this time,
Got you.
or they forget them, or the email gets lost, or they don't put them in their calendar,
Mhm.
and that initial drop. And if the first thing you have to say to your clients is "I'm sorry I missed you" or "I'm sorry I didn't make the phone call," I would argue your chances go down to 5% of
You're already
closing
working
that.
from
You're working from behind,
yeah.
and I think that's a critical error that goes back to time blocking and making sure that you're calendaring things and doing all those things because that's the what you and I would call the systems.
Mhm.
If you don't have good systems in place before you even get any leads, you're going to struggle.
Yeah,
But
I think early on you'll be able to, fire from the hip, make it work
yeah, like
and
in
muddle
complete
your way through it.
ignorance. Yeah. But once you get that first phone call,
Mhm.
that first phone call is probably, and I would argue, not it is the most important phone call that you're going to make with that person because it's doing a multitude of things all at the same time. It's building a rapport,
Mhm.
it's building trust,
Mhm.
it's gleaning information for both sides, and then it's a determination at the end of that conversation whether or not you want to continue to work with one another.
Yeah,
So a lot happens in that 15 or 20-minute phone call to set up the next appointment.
100%. And for me, there was also a shift where, yeah, we're doing some digging to see. Well, like for me, I'm looking for red flags off the hop.
Yeah.
Um, but it also ended up being, I think, a mindset shift where I go, and I'm also interviewing them as much as they're interviewing me,
Yeah. And
right?
whether
And
you want to work with them.
whether I want to work with
Yep.
them because everything might look good on paper from this individual, but they may end up being a difficult person to deal with.
Do you believe in your spidey senses?
Yeah, I do. I
Me
honestly
too.
do. And I've learned this from my wife.
Oh, really? Shout
She
out to Taylor.
is a witch.
Wow. Okay. That's not where I thought you were going with that. All right.
She's
Taylor the Witch. I can't wait
her
to see her next.
intuition
Yeah.
is
Yeah. We
out
got,
of this like I've heard women's intuition.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
I would
And
hang
then,
my hat on it.
and then I have to listen at my house. It's, when somebody shows you their true colors,
Believe them.
believe them.
Yeah.
It's the same principle, right? Like if you're in that phone call and there's something about it and you hang up that phone and go, geez. And,
Mhm.
and I would be like, okay, next.
Yeah.
And I think being able to, one of the parts of conversion is knowing who you don't want to work with
Yeah,
as
I
much as who you want to work
that's
with,
huge. It's
right?
also earlier on you're trying to take everything.
Yes.
Right. So in
Your
the
phone is
beginning,
sitting on the dinner table. You're waiting for that phone to ring
yeah.
because that next deal could come
And
through.
so what I'm saying is you're going to be there and you're going to become a victim of this at some point where you're taking
100% if you're
everything
new.
and you work with clients that you shouldn't have worked with. And you're going to learn who is on the no list
Yeah. Or what style of person is
or
on
what
the no.
style of person.
Yeah.
That was the other one cuz I ended up building out my no list and I actually got to print it out this week because it's going to hang on my wall.
That's a good idea.
Because it's just a reminder
Yeah.
like sometimes something might be like, okay, I'll help you out.
Yeah.
If it's on the no list, you refer it out,
Yep.
let somebody else deal with it.
I find that for me, during that conversation, when I'm having that first conversation, if there's hesitation
Mhm.
with that person, hesitation means don't.
Hesitation from them in terms of making a decision?
A commitment,
Commitment, yeah.
right?
So
If they're like, we're just not sure. Okay.
that's one of my no's is the decision maker has to be on the phone
Yeah.
call
Oh
or
yeah.
on the meeting.
So one of the first things I was ever taught in real estate, especially because I was young at the time, relatively young in real estate. I was
Mhm.
35, I think, when I started. And one of the first things that my broker taught me was that you have to have everybody in the car. And I've never been a fan of having everybody in the car because I don't put people in my car. I think it's a recipe for disaster. And I want them to have their private time. But
To chat.
if I knew that dad was
Mhm,
coming along with was gonna have a say and was gonna be the
mhm.
home inspector, he was at the showings. And
Yeah.
what I learned very quickly in my business
Saves
anyway,
time.
not only does it save time, but 9 times out of 10, I knew more than dad
Sure.
when it came to the construction of a house because that's what dads hang their hats on.
I
Right?
know more than you
I know
kids.
more than you do. I know more than your realtor does. I can do anything in a house. And he's Joe Handyman, and you walk into his house and there's 19 things that are not done. So it was I said to me, a part of my interview process was who's going to help you make this decision?
Yeah.
And I would address it right up front. And I would say,
It's
listen,
huge.
if it's
It's also a good way
dad,
to ask it. Who's
sure.
helping you make
Yeah.
this
Who's
decision?
helping you?
Not like, "Hey, which of your parents are gonna be the ones to make the call here?"
Right. Like I've had clients in the past where parents gift the money. So they have way more influence in it because ultimately I had one client where his dad said, I'm not giving you that money to buy that house. So we did an end around and Sue went and got him financing
Yeah.
without him,
Yeah.
right? And that would it is that, that conversation, that first conversion conversation is about rapport and being able to, set that next step, right? Like you've always got to be moving towards something, right? And if you're just having conversation for the sake of having conversation, you're not converting anything.
Mhm.
And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck is they'll keep talking to these people, but they'll never ask for the business, right? And the
Yeah.
ask is important, right? It's no different when you're looking for referrals. If you're trying to build a referral business, you have to tell people that you're looking for referrals, right? When one of the biggest mistakes realtors make, and I think agents make the same mistake, when you first get licensed, you shout it to the world,
Mhm.
right? But do you go and see the people that are most important to you? Do you go and talk to your parents and explain to your parents, hey, listen, I'm doing this because I want to better myself. I want to provide better for your daughter, whatever the case may
Sure.
be. I need your help
Mhm.
and asking for that help, right? When you've got a referral or you do your first deal, what's the first thing you should do? You should ask those people, hey, will you do a quick video with me just to say how your experience was
Yeah.
as my first client? I think I'm proud that you chose me.
You're at this milestone as
You're
much as I am.
yeah, like you
Yeah.
did this with me. So I think there's ways to convert and there's ways um to make sure that you're moving the process along. And every conversation that you have as a new realtor, new mortgage agent should be moving something along.
Yeah. So, to me, there's a couple tangible things we've pulled out of this segment already. The first one is, and again, keep in mind the goal of this is to be able to increase a conversion ratio, right?
Sure.
So you've got some leads coming in. How do you turn these leads into business? So the first one is to figure out very early on who's on your no list. Who do you not want,
Yeah.
right?
What type of person?
What type of
Yeah.
person are you really targeting?
Yeah.
If you're not into retirees or whatever, if you're
Whatever.
not into whatever person you're not into,
Yep.
I'm blanking right now.
Nurses.
Nurses, for whatever reason. If a nurse comes up, then that's not somebody that you're going to try to convert.
Yeah.
So the first step is to figure out what you're going after and what you're not going
Yep.
after. I think the not going after is as important as what you're going
I
after.
agree
Okay.
100%.
I think the second one that we very briefly touched on it. I think it kind of got skipped over, but it was make your process repeatable,
Oh yeah.
right?
And scalable.
Yeah, I think,
Although scalable at the beginning is not as important.
yeah,
A few years in, you need to start thinking about scalability.
yeah, and there are things that are going to help you with that tech, blah 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 blah
100%.
blah blah. But the idea here is that if your process is repeatable, you're not going to have people fall through the cracks, like Steve was mentioning.
Yeah.
Meaning, you're not going to have missed meetings, missed phone calls, missed whatever,
Yeah.
because you have an idea of where everybody is at each stage of the process.
Yeah.
right? So do something as simple as write it out on a piece of paper, right? So, and I'm talking about every single step from the moment you have that first conversation with somebody, right? The first moment somebody reaches out to you and they say, "Hey, I want to talk about selling my house." What do you do?
Yeah.
What's your immediate action? What's your next few
Listen,
follow-ups?
I recommend, and going back in time, we used to have binders,
Mm,
and we would have a playbook binder, and
okay.
it was okay. Questions for interview
Hmm.
number one. Okay, once you agreed to work with these people, what were the questions you needed to know about? What was your onboarding process? What was this? What was that? And it was all laid out. I think that you have to have that. I think otherwise, listen. I think a lot of people lose business because they fly by the seat of their pants.
Yeah. So here's my argument to having that binder handed to you. I think an
Oh, no,
exercise.
no, it was something you had to create. You had
Okay.
to, as you're going through it, it was, the idea was, okay, you need to have a buyer interview. Okay, great. Now put it into the binder.
What I was going to say is, even if you're given one, I would say the exercise is try to make your own.
Yeah,
So see if you can
personalize it.
personalize it first. Like do the exercise of being like, okay, how would I run this stage? How would I run this stage? Take a look at how the two are similar or how they differ. Because if you've put thought into it, it's already somewhat etched into your mind.
Oh,
A
100%.
little bit more than you just looking at.
Yeah. It's like when you're at a conference and you're writing notes as opposed to just sitting there. At least you've got something to go back to, refer
Yeah.
to, and it'll kind of stick in your mind a little bit more. I think that so much conversion is lost because they don't ask. I think the ask is
So
so
that's the
important.
third step that I had written down here
Yeah.
is having the ask in there. And I think um
So let me give you an example. Okay. You get a phone call, somebody says, "Hey, we're thinking about listing our house. Can you call us and we'll talk about it?" Sure, no problem. Call you 6 o'clock tonight. We'll have a
mhm,
conversation. Can you both be on the phone call? No problem. Great. So you get both of them on the phone call, speakerphone, however you want to do it.
mhm,
And you have this conversation about, what they're thinking in their process, et cetera, et cetera. The end of that conversation should be, is there a time that works for you for me to come by and see the house and start to formulate some information from you, moving that conversation to that next step,
mhm,
right? And then you go to that, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna go home now. I'm gonna collect the data. I'm gonna give you some information. Is there a time that I can come back and present you my findings?
mhm, mhm,
Right. And at that appointment, you got two choices. If for a listing side, you can take the listing paperwork with you and say, "Hey, are you ready to go?"
mhm.
Or is there a time that we can chat about what I've brought to you and see if this is something you want to move forward with? Always taking that next step.
Yeah.
Because what that does is it does two things. It keeps you moving along, and it keeps you being able to figure out whether or not these people are real, because you're always, until you've got that paper signed, you're always evaluating that potential client. But it's also showing to them that you're committed to them and committed to coming back in a minute, just giving them information, and you haven't got to pay a cent yet, right? So you're going to go through this whole process, and all of a sudden they're going to be like, "This guy's doing a lot." Like I did one for a lady a little while ago, opinion of value on an estate, and she said to me, she says, "How do I pay you?" I said, "By giving me the listing when you're ready to sell."
Mhm,
And she was like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not going to charge you for this because I know down the road, why would I charge you for something now that, I hope that by the service that I
mhm.
provided you, in this process, that you're going to trust me with the sale when it comes to that sale." And the look on her face was just like, wow. I'm like, that's how I run my business. Now, there's people that will charge you for this.
Really?
Oh yeah, there's lots
I
of
didn't
people
know
that
that.
charge it for opinion of values. But I don't do that. I do it because I want to build that rapport with you, that trust, et cetera, et cetera. Aiden cuts their grass now every week and takes care of the property for them,
Got you.
right?
Yep.
So you're always building that trust with those people,
Yeah,
and I think that's a key to any conversion.
I think the ask is the last piece of this, arguably the biggest.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, ultimately, I think signing is the biggest,
Yeah,
but in that conversion process, I would agree.
but in terms of what you can do to increase your conversion,
Yeah, I agree.
that's the biggest one because and when I say ask, I also think about um exactly that, which is asking people for the
Uh,
business, asking people to commit to the next stage,
yep.
asking people who else they know who would
That's
benefit.
the big one.
Yeah, and I think it is very much a learned skill.
Yeah,
I
it's
I
awkward at beginning,
very,
right?
and I think it's something you definitely have to work on
Yep.
because you're sitting there and you're going, "Oy, oy, oy. Ugh." But, like, ultimately, that's what you're doing, and I think the mindset shift that has to happen is you have to understand and you have to believe that what you're doing is providing a service, but you're doing it at a good level, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying, "Listen, who else do you know that is considering selling and that might benefit from somebody
What we just did.
what we just did?" Yeah,
Yeah.
what I do, my services, because you have to.
See, and I phrase it slightly differently. I say, I ask them, "Are you satisfied?" Because we have a customer service satisfied, so we send that, and when they say,
Mhm,
"Yeah, we're satisfied," I go back to them once we've received that, and I say, "Listen, I got the survey back. Thank you so much for filling that out because it really does help me. I was wondering if when you hear somebody that's buying or selling, if you would mind mentioning my name." And I spell it out for them. I
mhm.
don't want them thinking about what they mean by referral. I want them to think my name. I want to put it in their head that when it comes time, I've not only done a good job for them, we've built a rapport, we've built a trust. Can you pass that trust level that you have on to somebody else for me? Because I will tell
It's
you,
huge.
it took me 10 years probably of doing this before I sat down with my old man. I had a conversation. And I said to him, I said, Dad, like, it's always bugged me that in all the people that
Mhm.
that I've never got one piece of business from you. I've never got a referral. And he said to me, you never asked me to do it. And I thought to myself, shame on me,
Yeah, it's
right?
I think that's exactly it because we can't assume that they know, we can't assume this or that, the other. We think everybody knows, not everybody knows, but as soon as you
No,
ask.
you get them to commit to you.
But there's also there's a side of it that people like to be helpful.
Yes.
And there was something I put an ask out to a few people yesterday. A quick ask, very simple. Hey, I'm looking for this, 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 and this. And the amount of people who came back with an answer very fast, very
Yep.
quickly.
Yep.
It was that simple. And
Yeah.
it was like, okay, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, you know, it becomes that Ponzi scheme kind of that pyramid
Pyramid
of
scheme,
trust,
yeah.
right? Where like if you get one solid person that you just knock the socks out of, and I give you a perfect example. Old friends of ours, um, moved to the country.
Hmm.
I sold them their house,
Hmm.
and shortly thereafter, brother and sister move out there. Other brother and sister move out there. I help them both. Then couple gets together. We move. We sell the one. We move them all in the same family, and then the parents decide to come out and and move out as well. And because he had seen what I'd done with his kids, I was the only person that he called, and the only person I ever trusted. He trusted me to do his business, and for years that went on. And I did. I'll bet you 10 deals with that family just because of the trust of the first couple to do
That
it.
trust permeates through to everybody else.
The trust, listen, if people don't trust you,
Yeah.
you have nothing,
Yeah, especially today.
right?
Like in today's day and age, like I had a conversation with somebody yesterday and we were talking about their scenario. And I was like, honestly, it may end up looking that we stay with RBC and yada, yada, yada. But I
Yeah,
go, I'll tell you honestly, because you have to trust me.
yeah,
And if I told you something that was incorrect, you'll never trust me again.
yeah. And it happens to us when we're walking through houses
Yeah.
and when we're seeing prices and we're seeing this stuff and we're giving information. And I say to them, listen, this is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Right. And you take it, you get to take that information and make the decision, but here's what it is. And here's what I'm seeing. Right. Like, there's an old saying, you can make stats say whatever you want them to say,
Mhm.
but stats without interpretation mean nothing to anybody,
Yeah.
right? So you have to give that perspective to them. Same thing when you're walking through a house, and you've shown these people 20 houses. I'd argue by that point you're not doing your job properly, but you've shown them 20
Hmm.
houses. You know exactly what they've asked you to find now
Yeah.
because they've narrowed it down.
Your
and
no
you
list is pretty substantial.
and you walk into that house and you know it's the one.
Yeah.
And you sometimes have to say to them, "Listen, I can't force you to buy the
This
house,
checks all the boxes.
but this checks every single box that you have ever told me you want.
Yeah.
What's the hesitation?"
Yeah.
And then you start to figure out what the other, what is really holding them up, and it's usually fear and commitment,
Mhm.
and they got commitment issues, et cetera, whatever. But I think that that comes with that trust. Right, you build that trust. You get the luxury of being able to give them your opinion, and then they listen to it. And I think that's so huge in that process, because if you can't build the trust in that first phone call, you got 15 to 20 minutes to build that trust. They're not going to trust you later on, and it's just going to be, you're going to spiral, and
Yeah.
you'll be the water in the toilet bowl just going
You'll
down.
just be spinning your tires.
Yeah. So that's a good place to take a break, and we'll come back and wrap up another portion of this.
Beautiful.
Wake up to the world you've been missing. Time to jump out of bed in the morning. No day, no life, now we're living. Can you feel it in
Welcome
the air
back
that you're
to part 3 of
Part
our
3. Part 3
conversation.
of 3.
Part 3 on our conversation of leads and conversion,
Mhm.
and you have a problem with one, or do you have a problem with both? And I think what we're going to do now is kind of give an idea of what we think is how you can help build that, your make better
Yeah, so
leads, which is easier to convert.
yeah, like, because the Chat GPT prompt, like we said, was it's not a leads problem, it's a conversion problem. So we kind of dove into our second segment was how can you go about converting a little bit more? Here are some things you can do, build a no list, um, tune in your dial in your process, get it tuned up so that it's the same, it's repeatable, and that it helps you keep things good.
Yep.
And ask, meaning ask for them to commit to you at some point in whatever manner that looks like in
Yep.
your business. The
I
last
think that was the biggest
Yeah,
part of
right.
that, right?
You have to make that tangible ask.
Yeah.
And I think the last piece that we wanted to kind of chat about and dive into a little bit was the side of the leads,
Yeah.
which is okay. So if you're early in your career, how are you going about getting your leads? We've talked about this on the podcast a little bit, but it's like Steve mentioned, it's going to come from your immediate circle
Yeah.
more likely than not. Your sphere of influence is going to be the majority of where your business comes from.
But do you think, and I get this question a lot when I train brand new realtors, they say to me a lot, "I don't know that many people." So let's just take it back for a second,
Okay.
because I think a lot of people get caught in that in this sales business. They think they don't know a lot of people. And yet part of the exercise that I put people through at the beginning is that you have to go through your database, and I love this exercise because I think it can set you off on the right foot. You know people everywhere.
Hmm.
You just don't realize you do, because you don't itemize it. And we've got a checklist, like a booklet, 4 pages of, do you know any firefighters? Do you know any police officers?
Hmm.
Do you know any teachers? Do you know any of
I
this?
think the
And
other
you start
side
to
of it
fill
is
in this.
people go, I don't know people that many people, and then you go, well, you know this many people. Well, I don't know them well enough
Yeah.
yet,
Yeah.
right? Like everybody was a stranger at some point, and you
Yeah.
know these people a little bit, and maybe you guys didn't jive back in the day, but
Yeah.
you're at the maybe you were at different life
Yeah. Listen, my high
intersections.
school sweetheart
Yeah.
still gives out my name to this day,
And that's what I mean. Like
right? Like,
some people are just friends you haven't met yet.
yeah,
They're just acquaintances, but that you all of a sudden might find out that you're both into like
but
uh,
it goes to
gardening.
it
I
goes
don't
to
know.
relationships,
Yeah.
right? And I think one of the things that Greg and I, both completely agree on here is that
Do you think we agree on stuff more than we disagree lately?
I don't know. I think we're getting to that point, because I think you've been in long enough now that you've seen the other side of it. But I think that, you know every coach will tell you that, in real estate, and I'm sure in the mortgage world, although there's not as many coaches in the mortgage world
Mm-mm.
as there are in the real estate world.
It's a lower ticket thing. Like you guys are a higher ticket industry.
Maybe, maybe. I just think that we're more visible, to be honest with you, when it
Hmm,
comes down to it.
possible, yeah.
But I think that, when you first start out or you're trying to build your business, you have to decide what you want to do with your business. Do
Okay.
you want to niche your business to be something specific? I got a buddy.
I've always wanted to.
Me too. And I've just never. I've done it indirectly at points in my
Mhm.
career. There was a point where I didn't love doing it, but I was good at dealing with divorces. There was a point where I dealt with 30 somethings who were all had very, very young kids and wanted
Mhm.
to move to the country. Now I deal with a lot of estates, and I think part of that goes with your progress in life and how,
Mhm.
and your business. But
Steve's seen this once. He can help us.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. Like, or down the hall, the lawyers know what I'm good at. So sometimes they'll send me business, rarely, but sometimes they will. And I got to work on them with that. But I think that one of the things that agents look for the immediate fix, and I think that they need to understand that it could take one, two,
So
three,
you're
four,
talking about
five
the
to move.
lead to business, like, or the lead to conversion, like, the moment where you're reaching out to people.
Yeah, like it
Yeah.
get like you know, you may have this contact,
Mhm.
okay, that you haven't talked to in a little while. You get into the business and you reach out to them and say,
Mhm.
"Hey, listen, I just want you to know I started this. You may think I'm crazy, but and then reach out and put the ask up. Or you may have to reach out to them and say, "How's it going?"
Mhm.
and start the conversation much much slower depending on who the person is, right? Like you're going to know, like you're going to have people in your database that are no nonsense. What do you want? Right?
Mhm.
You're going to have people in your database that are like, "Hey, I'd love to help you," and there are going to be people that go, "I don't even know you need my help," right? So you
Or,
have
like,
to,
"How did we meet?"
yeah, right. And that listen, I've had people come up to me before, "Hey, I haven't seen you since you sold the house." Okay, there's reasons for it, but you're not telling them that. But I'm not going to say to you you were a nightmare to deal
Yeah.
with. But
I
like
secretly fired you.
yeah, like in my head, I fired you 19 times because
Mhm.
I was pulling my hair out. But I just think that you have to kind of figure out with your people and who you're talking to, as are they immediate?
Mhm.
Can you talk to them about this right away? Can you say, "Listen, I need your help"? Do you need to smooth over some things? Do you need to talk to them and rebuild that rapport? Or are you starting from the ground up with these people again?
Yeah, and I would say if you kind of take the mentality that you're starting from the ground up with a good chunk of people, because arguably, even if you've been doing this for a few years, there's probably people you could reach out to again
Oh yeah.
and restart this and do a better job of it. And
Yeah.
so what I'm getting at is you've got to get it out of your head that you're trying to convert this into business immediately or even in the
Short term.
short term. Yeah, it's a good way
Yeah.
to say it. And in some cases, not even in the midterm.
Yeah.
This is listen, I'm trying to talk to as many. The goal at the end of the day should be when I go to sleep, more people know what I do than when I woke up,
Yeah.
right? Like that's kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
if you were to boil
Yep.
it down.
Yep. And depending on what platforms and
So platforms,
methodologies that
but
you're
this is a big
using.
thing you're bringing up, which is you're going to be doing probably a combination of the two of these, and one being these one-on-one interactions,
Yep.
right? I'm messaging you, I'm calling you, I'm texting you, I'm meeting you on the street, I'm visiting your office, whatever it is.
Yep.
But those are you can only do as much as you have time for in a day.
Yep.
And the other flip side of it is social media.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about this, and this was a big kind of mindset shift, I think, for both of us, at least for me, I can say, which was the leverage you get on this.
Yeah.
Meaning, I can have one post and 200 people can see this. I know 200 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you put them in a room, 200 is a ton of people,
Yeah.
right?
You are connecting with people in a lot of cases affordably,
Yeah.
especially if you're doing it organic. I mean, it's your time that you're giving up.
Mhm.
But you are and I think the way I look at social media like this is you're reinforcing a relationship
Oh,
with those
yeah, that's a
people,
very good way to say
right?
it.
Like I know the
Yeah.
people that see me on Instagram are people that follow me on Instagram. Okay. Let's take the algorithms, everybody out of the equation,
Mhm.
et cetera. But I go on the assumption that those people are going to see me.
Pretend there's
Okay.
no like for you or explore
Yeah,
pages.
right. So I'm gonna go on that assumption that they see me. I've talked to that person once a month for the last 3 months, but they've seen me 40
Yeah.
times.
Which is different. They know your personality, they know how you approach things, they
Right.
know everything about you.
But they're also getting value from what I'm
Ideally.
posting,
Yes.
right? Like, we do this, you and I do this because we have a great time doing it, but
Mhm.
it's also reinforcing our knowledge and we're learning from each other. And,
Yeah.
but we're sharing that knowledge in hopes that, a consumer sees it. For me, another realtor sees this and
Mhm.
says, hey, that guy makes sense.
Yeah. I
Like,
like what he's doing, I
I
wanna
like what
align
he's
with
doing.
him.
I want to align with him.
Mhm.
We're striking out on that right now, by the way, just so you know, but whatever. Like, we'll get there. The aligning with him, it went over your head. Forget it. Look at the look on your
I got
face.
no idea what you're talking about.
I'll tell you after. Don't worry. It was a joke for me that worked for me. It didn't work for you, clearly. So I think that when you work on these things, like when you've got these people, and I encourage everybody, write the list out.
Yeah.
When you're talking to people, note when you're talking to these people, what did you talk about?
Yeah.
Right? Like have a dialogue of some nature recorded so that you're going to be doing this for a long time.
Yeah, make notes. Oh, they have 2 kids, they're this age,
Yeah.
they like dogs, they like
Yeah. Creep them on social and find
it's
out,
the
when are the
details.
kids' birthdays are. What's the dog's name? Something tragic or something great happened in their life. Reach out to them and don't assume. You'll notice. So in our social media pages, we always put up birthdays and that kind of stuff for the agents. I never post on their wall on those posts. I
Oh,
see
okay.
that, and it's a trigger for me to send them a DM, and I'll text them right away.
More personal.
Way
Yeah.
more personal. Make that relation. You're building that relationship. Because listen, every morning on Facebook, we all get a list of people at its birthdays, right?
Mhm.
If you're just posting it on their wall because you're just going
It
through
gets
that list,
lost.
it gets
Yeah, I
lost,
agree.
right? But if you reach out and say, "Hey, just want to let you know, I don't want to get lost on Facebook. I want you to know, happy birthday for me today. Hope you have a great day." Right? Something like that. Happy anniversary. Happy. I do it with mothers on Mother's Day. I send out a crap ton of happy Mother's Day messages.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not because anything other than I want them to feel appreciated,
Yeah.
right? So I'm building that relationship with that, and a lot of it's the agents, a lot of it's our family, etc. But I will tell you a perfect example of this. We had a death in the family a little while ago, and it kind of brought the family back together. And Sue and I were driving around the city the other day, and she said, in the last little while, so and so has been giving your name out all over the place. Now, this guy does hot tub, pool, and that kind of stuff installs. He's in different people's houses every day. He hears what's going on. They're selling, buying, whatever the case may be, or getting ready to. So he's giving my name out all over the place. And it's my uncle. It's her uncle, really. Um, but it's not something that he did before because we're kind of just separated. But ever since we got back together, and he's been really, really pushing,
Mhm.
her and our names. And I reached out to him the other day and I said, listen, I just want to say thanks. Right. And I think that's the other part that gets missed a lot. When somebody sends you business,
Mhm.
you have got to pick up that phone and thank the person that business came from. I did a deal last year. My client runs a bar in Niagara on Lake. Okay, I sold him the house the year before. Out of nowhere, I get this phone call from this kid. He's just inherited a crap ton of money. Okay, cash. My first real, no mortgage, true $1 million in the bank cash buyer.
Sheesh.
So I said, what can I do for you? He goes, listen, I want to buy a house, but I'm going to interview 3 agents. I said, no problem. Come meet me in my Niagara on Lake office. We'll sit down and we'll have a chat. Bring whoever you want. It doesn't matter to me. I'll talk to whomever. Talk to the kid. Had a great rapport with him. Said to him, I said, listen, I'm not going to press you. I'll stay in touch with you, just to check in every once in a while, but you let me know when you're ready.
Mhm.
I know you got some stuff to sort out. And then, checked in with him a couple of times. And then out of nowhere, he messages me and says, I'm ready. I'm like, what do you mean you're ready? So money's in the bank. Let's go.
Mhm.
Took him out, showed him 8 houses. This kid was absolutely the only client I've ever put in my car, believe it or not. Didn't drive. So I said, I don't mind being your I'll drive you around, no problem. We get to talk, and it's just you and me, so there's no others.
Mhm,
There was nobody else influencing this
mhm.
decision. He relied solely on me. This kid's giving my name out. The original guy gives my name out all the time.
Mhm.
The second guy's giving out my name now. Right. So you build that and you build that. And that's the way this business is built. Once you've got that and you ask and you satisfy, you move and it kind of does that exponential growth
Yeah,
out.
well, they end up being your sales team,
They become your sales team,
mm,
and they really do start to talk about
your
you.
fans
It's
and
funny because there was in our amp training, it comes back to being the water cooler guy.
ah,
So it's a great analogy
mhm,
for you. Going to the water back in the day when you have the water cooler, we actually have one here, water cooler, and you're standing there, everybody's gabbing on break at the water cooler. Oh, I'm thinking about selling. I know the guy who's going to sell your house for you.
mhm,
You want to be that person. I know the guy's going to get you your
yeah,
mortgage, right? You want to be that person because once you get to that point with your clients,
mhm,
they don't stop because now it's ingrained in their mind as much as it's ingrained in yours. So it goes back to everything from lead generation is about relationships. And what do you
and
do?
it's a
So
longer term play than you might think,
yes.
depending on so the one thing we were talking about is the strength of this lead is really determined or the quality, I guess, by the quality of the relationship.
Yeah.
So you've gotta if you've nurtured this relationship for a while, very likely you'll have lower effort, lower barrier to convert. Um, but if this has been, a newer relationship or a relationship that hasn't ever been as strong, you're gonna have to put in that effort and it might take a little longer.
Yeah.
Um,
I had a client last year who dad was giving them the deposit.
yep.
He didn't like anything they were looking at. He's like, I don't want to give you the money for something I don't like.
Mhm,
And they said, you know what, we're just going to do this. And I said,
mhm.
no problem. I
Do
get
your
it. Like,
thing. Yeah.
do your thing. Literally Tuesday morning messages me, hey, it's so and so.
Mhm.
Do you want to be a realtor again? We've got this. I'm like,
Sure.
sure, why not? We've already got the rapport.
Yeah.
She said, do you think your wife will still help us with the mortgage? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can get her to do that for you. Right. But because we had built this rapport, and when it started, we were out looking at houses in the dead of winter, and they had a very, very young baby still in the
Mhm.
carrier. So he was always carrying the baby around in the carrier. And we were in the backyard and it was icy. And I took her arm
Mm.
and I literally balanced her to make sure that if anybody was going down, it was me going
Mhm.
down. And from that day on, she talked to me completely differently because I took that care of her.
Yeah.
Once you build that and you get to that
You're
point
just
with
a
a
good
client,
dude.
they look at you differently,
Yeah.
right? You're not just there to sell a house.
Yeah.
You're not just there to get them a mortgage. And that's, I think, the most important point you got to get to is when they believe that you have their best interests at heart,
Mhm.
there's no stopping you.
And in an honest manner. So to
Yes.
me, the couple kind of levers you can pull to increase maybe the quality of your leads, which are going to increase conversion you
Yeah.
experience, is get out there and build some honest relationships.
100%.
This is going to take some time, in many cases longer than you might expect.
100%.
Okay. But also, you have avenues that can kind of sometimes expedite the process, right? Like you mentioned, social media, it's going to reinforce this relationship. It'll help you build it a little faster sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think the other lever you can kind of end up pulling maybe a little bit later in your career is to niche down,
Yeah.
right?
Niching's not as easy as people
It's
think
not.
because it really does. We got an agent that never doesn't leave Crystal Beach. I've
Hmm.
talked about her before.
Hmm.
Um, and that's been great for her and bad for her all at the same time. So you have to decide whether or not what the value is of that niche. I got a buddy out in Port Rowan. All he sells is port
Yeah.
is lakefronts and cottages.
But the idea behind this is that your conversion should jump up pretty substantially because the type of person you're after has been zeroed in on.
Yeah,
You're moving with a sniper rifle at
yeah.
this point, right?
And you're now the expert.
Expert.
And when they look at you as the expert,
Yes.
right? That there's nothing stopping you really.
No, and so if you're after increasing this conversion ratio for whatever reason, maybe it's, you have less time or you like to be able to close most of the people you talk to, right?
Yeah,
Maybe you're after a 50, 60, 70, 80. That's great,
yeah,
right? You probably going to talk to less people,
yeah. But you're
but
going to talk to them more often.
you're going to talk to them more often. You may be able to give maybe a higher level of service,
Yep,
right? There's a pro and a con to each of these directions.
yep.
And I think obviously you have to make the decision of which direction you're going to steer your boat,
Yeah.
right? But ultimately, those are a couple things, couple tactics you can use to one, increase your conversion, and two, how to increase your leads and quality of leads, I would say.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I just think that don't get discouraged.
yeah.
If you don't get immediate results, I promise you, if you keep doing what you're doing
Yeah.
and doing it effectively,
It's all
it
really an
w-
experiment, right? Like
it
you and I
is.
were quickly
Yeah, yeah,
talking about this with some of the social media stuff where we would post stuff and it would get a certain response. And then we started changing a lot of things
yeah,
and the response decreased, like, right, less views on some YouTube shorts and stuff. So I stripped it down and I said, okay, we're going back to what we did from the beginning, and now we're going to slowly adjust each variable and see what is making things better.
yeah,
Um, and because that's the only way to really isolate for a variable and see what's actually going to
yeah.
move in the needle. But it's one of these things where you go, hey, I tried this 1,000 times,
Yep.
right?
But that's no different than the relationship building of it,
Yes.
right? Like if you find that you're talking to a certain type of person and it's never converting, stop talking to that certain type of person because you're clearly not.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
guys don't align for
right?
whatever
It's like when
reason.
I say to people, I'm not good at open houses,
Yeah, but you did one
right?
the other week.
I did one the other week because I was asked to do one,
Okay.
but I know that it's not my forte,
Yeah.
right? It's just not how I'm, because I don't like not
Hmm.
having the conversation up front with somebody. I like to be able to, I don't like building rapport on the spot like that. It's not my thing.
Hmm. So your
So
response is
yeah, right.
okay.
Are you sure you want me to do this for you? But again, you do it enough, you get better at things
Yeah.
as well, right? Like you're going to realize that, maybe that's not the right person, but all of a sudden, because you've learned that that's not the right person, you're actually figuring out at the same time who the right person is,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah. It's
uh,
like a silver
tr-
lining type of situation. Like,
tracking who and what you do is so important.
yeah, so much more important than it's stressed early on. And
Yeah.
everybody goes, yeah, 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 I get it.
Yeah, it's one of those, the old guy doesn't know what he's talking
And then
about.
you're like, yeah, yeah, that's fine. I will. I get it. It's fine. I'll track it all. I'll
Yeah,
collect all this stuff.
yeah.
And then,
They got
it,
a book of sticky notes.
or it's just, you're just like, ah, crap. I should have done a better job of
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
Everybody says from day one, short your CRM or keep this list. And you're
yep.
like, yeah, I will. I will. I will. I will.
An agent told me once they lost more business because of sticky notes than they had
Oh my
business,
gosh.
because they would put the sticky note, they'd get the contact right on a sticky note, put it in their book. The book would open
What the
up, the
hell does
sticky
this
note would be
mean?
gone.
Oh,
Or yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. And
well,
I always said, that's, you got a phone in your hand.
yeah, you do.
See, it's not
Take
hard to figure
notes.
out. Take notes.
But
So
that's leads and conversion for today, I'd say.
I think that's a great place to leave it off, and we will talk again next week.
All right. Peace out.
Peace.